Hi, welcome back to the channel, TrainStation 2. Alright, got first in this Peru evented competition, and with that we have collected about 1050 event coins, and using 1000 of them I managed to claim this first legendary train from the event itself. So I'm really happy. We've met our first objective. The next objective is definitely to exchange for the second legendary train in the event. Alright, now let's enter into the gameplay. I just managed to reach 224 levels. Alright, can see here this is a second round of the customer's request. That's why the quantities is really huge. You can see there's another customer, so I'm going to complete the first round. So I'm quite worried that the quantity request moving on will be high, and EPs will be tiny. So this is always the case, and that's why I always advocate that you need to get all the event coins required, i.e. that 1000 event coins required in the first 3 competitions, because the first 3 competitions are the easiest throughout the whole event itself. The reason is because as you progress further into the event, you would have completed one round of the customer's request, example 30 out of 30 of the tasks. Once you refresh into 1/30 in the second round, definitely you get a lot tougher. But bear in mind, not everybody will be on the same pace. For example, you push yourself really hard, that's why you have completed one of the customers. There may be some that doesn't do that much. Probably in the next competition, they will be the ones that are able to climb that ranking chart really fast, because we have high EPs for a small little amount of deliveries. Unlike us, probably we will face the opposite. So always got to pace your progress in the event out. Try not to complete 100%. If I'm not wrong, I'm now roughly about a mid 90, probably 95% complete. Quite a concern, because this is just 3 competitions. Probably there'll be another 4 more or so. So in the subsequent competitions, it will not be easy to get first because of the high quantity required and tiny EPs. I cannot emphasize more enough. Once you hit 100%, it'll be even worse, because now it's just a matter of completion of one round of the customer's request. But once you hit 100%, everything will go haywire. Alright, so here we are, having 25 competitors, but most of them are quite going to sit out in the competitions, which is great. But bear in mind, there'll be a few that's really on the ball, will be chasing after you non-stop. And my factory items prepared so far in the 6 core factories, but based on the experience of this event, seldom do they require the non-event, i.e. Peru manufactured items. So that's always the case. If not, they'll be asking things like timber, which you can grab straight away from the timber factory. So so far my 6 core factories, those items I prepared, a bit of them are used. Otherwise, most of the time they'll be asking for the event factories. Alright, at this juncture, with about 15 hours left, I was overtaken. That to me a concern there. So I decided I'm gonna engage another dispatcher, so as to push all the way up, then propel myself in terms back to the first place. So it's really important. We need those dispatches using gems. I would say it's well spent for this event, because if otherwise we may not be able to get that legendary train that fast. Given the fact that we are new to this region 5, having another legendary train would definitely help. Otherwise, if sometimes the restrictions of trains, I may not even have enough trains to go by, because I may have dispatcher but do not have that legendary train to deliver those items. Alright, then of course the next one I'm talking about will be the event keys. With the Peru event keys itself will allow you to change for another legendary. So that's my next immediate target of having 4000 event keys after claiming this 1000 event coins train itself. Then we're going to work out, see how we can best then exchange for the remaining 3 trains that makes up of 1 epic, 1 rare and 1 common. My advice, also called my practice so far, I will always try to put that to the last, which means that I'm going to save up all the event keys and see how best or which one would I be able to exchange for. So I will always try to exchange for the epic if possible, then move on to rare, and then lastly a common. But if at the last minute probably it isn't sufficient event keys, then no choice, you got to change with just one common, so be it. Alright. Meanwhile, with the remaining competitions, would I be slacking? Not totally, but I'll try to avoid completing the last request so as not to reach 100% of the event mapped. That will ease in terms of the difficulty by a little bit. With that, it means that my competitions ranking in subsequent so-called competition, the fourth competition onwards, may drop, and I'm just hoping to stay within top 5. Would I still engage in the starting late, given the fact that really achieve the event coins of 1000? Yes, the answer is really yes, because I really wanted to get more event coins. Why so? Event coins can get you two things. One is those gold, and of course parts. Not to forget, you always got to do your C trades, which comes by daily, because the C trade will give you blue maps, and those are really required desperately to upgrade your so-called building requests under 5 building technique, and hence increasing the population for warehouse upgrade. So warehouse upgrades is really crucial. As you can see, I always mention about my tiny population, about 7,000 plus, but it's much better now, about 3 times more than what I started with, 2,000 odd in the end of the region 3 when I started the 5 building technique. So how do I manage to win competitions? Definitely to start late and to make use of the warehouse outside the warehouse. You hear me right, warehouse outside the warehouse. So what do I mean by warehouse outside the warehouse? Is to use your factory's input and output tray to act as additional warehouse spacing. Likewise the event factory as well. How does that work? Of course, the easy one will be the output tray. The manufactured products, if you don't collect them, you act as your temporary storage place. When you need, then you take it. So that is easy to understand. For the input tray, it is a conversion of raw material. So for example, you need just a very simple items you may need. Assuming I'm making a chair, you need timber and a nail. So with a required number of timber and nails, then you can make your chair, right? So but when you are in need of nails or when you're in need of timber, you can actually undo the order to produce that chair, and you can get back your raw material. So that will allows you to basically use your input tray in the factory, the core factory, to act as additional warehouse spacing for timber and nails. Then how do you do that? Because once you put in the production, it will continue to run. The key is to store the production, which means that you fill it to the brim in the output tray, do not collect. The production will store. That's how you can make use of the input tray for your factories. Alright, so that is how I made by to get the first so far, using them as additional warehouse spacing. Otherwise, my terrible tiny warehouse wouldn't make it. Alright, I finished another quest line, and that would mean things get more and more difficult. You can see there is refresh 1/30, and the quantity will go skyrocket high. So this is something that is inevitable. Eventually, when you proceed and progress along the way in your event mapped, you need to complete stuff, and definitely you'll hit 30 out of 30 eventually. So here we have one last customer that we have not hit 30 out of 30. Probably once we hit 30 out of 30, the event map will be 100% complete, and that will be disastrous. Yes, on one hand, you do wish to complete that event map so as a sense of satisfaction, but I urge you not to do so. Resist that temptation to do so, because we are still at just the midpoint of the event. There's still a long way to go, unless you suffer for the rest of the event. Otherwise, please listen to me. Do not collect, also called complete, the last customer request, so you can limit the damage of completing 100%, because you would have really completed, assuming like me, 2 out of the customer's requests. If you complete the third one, you'll be jeopardizing yourself in the future competitions, or double whammy. 1, all your customers are really difficult. 2, once you hit 100%, Probably the game will punish you by making everything so difficult. And wish you good luck in the next competition. And really happy to quickly show you this legendary train I got. Thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe. Goodbye. Take care.